What's up, man? This your boy Willie Lynch Jr., man. We back here. You know what I'm saying? This is part five of behind the scenes. Who's Willie Lynch Jr. And ultimately, I did this because people be like, man, you don't never talk about yourself enough. So let's give you some insight on me. Last thing I talked about was my moving to Chicago. Like I said, I moved here because I ended up getting a job offer, which is making pretty good money working at a college. And shit, then that was number one reason because you're a comedian. I was broke. I had just started. I wasn't doing anything else. So I moved up here, and Jokes and Notes was here. So I was like, man, this is it. So I moved here, man. Stuff started going well. I started getting booked a whole lot because I was funny, and you know, came did the open mic a couple times. The first time what I did was I had come up here in June of 2010 for my job interview, and I had already played Chicago like twice. I had done Mr. G's on 87 and Ashland. Um, that May, so it was just a month before, and I had done Outriggers with my homeboy, my frat brother Knowledge. He manages Lil Real. I did that in April. So, I was acclimated to the city just a little bit, So I was trying to get in Jokes and Notes. My girlfriend and I had come up here. I had a job interview and everything. She lived here already, so we went to Jokes and Notes. My buddy, Judge Jay, had just passed. He was a comedian. He just died like the day before. And so the Just for Laughs festival was going on, so I had to pay to get in, which was cool. And Lil Rel was hosting. I didn't know who he was. I kind of heard about him, but I never really did. And I mean, I'm crying. Dude had me literally just straight crying. So text my boy Nas. I mean, it's the funniest joke I ever seen live, man. So that kind of kicked everything off. I met the owner, gave him my card, and she had seen me at the Bay Area comedy competition earlier that year. She's one of the judges, and she actually voted me to go to the semifinals. So she's like, "How long you in town?" I said, "Till Monday." So she's like, "I'll give you a guest spot," which is meaning you get a few minutes on the show, even if you're not booked on it. You don't get paid none of that shit, but it's like they get to see you. So she gave me a guest spot, and that Sunday, and Leon Rogers was hosting. So he introduced me. I came out and I ripped. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna book you." She's like, "Oh, you're a headliner or a feature, or whatever." And I was like, mind you, this was June. I had started doing comedy last August. So I knew I could headline because I knew I had a lot of time. So I was like, I'll do whatever, feature, headline, or whatever. And so I ended up moving up here like that next month. So the first time I had come, I think it was in August. I was sitting in the club with my cousin, and we just watching the show. And I think Jeff B was headlining. And me and Jeff B actually go back because my first time getting booed was when I was 19 at University of Illinois doing homecoming. It was him and Big Daddy Woo that was on the show, and they let me do a spot on the show. So, that was my history with him. And so I go up, and she's like, "You want to do a guest spot?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So it's 5 minutes, and I demolished that motherfucker. I mean, I ripped so hard. And so I ended up going up again maybe about a month later. Actually, a couple weeks later, I was booked on the show in September, and when I got there, the comedian forgot that he booked me, so I didn't get paid and nothing. I was like, just let me go up. So I went up, did 10 minutes, and I ripped that motherfucker. Oh, I destroyed that bitch. So maybe I did five, some shit like that. But I remember like about a couple weeks later, George Wilborn was hosting, so I had never really done over 5 minutes, at the club, but I really wanted to show a club owner what I could do in 10 minutes, because I was like, my 10 minute set is a motherfucker. It ain't like, you know what I'm saying, the average shit you gonna see. And so she put me up, and George was hosting. I did 10 minutes, got standing ovation. I mean, literally, I destroyed that bitch. So instead of her booking me as a feature in November, that following November, she booked me as a co-headliner. Meaning you get way more money than a feature, but not as much as a headliner. But then you get somewhat of a headliner time. Like you get to do a lot of time. So I ended up doing like 35 minutes of show. And it was Buff Bay and me. We were on the show together. So I was closing out the show, and I was ripping. I ripped both shows Friday, and she heard about it. She wasn't there. So when she got there Saturday, she said, "I heard you did pretty well, whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, I did." So that first show Saturday, when I said I was destroying that motherfucker, I made like 30. I made 30 minutes. And I still had a few minutes left, and I was killing. So when I got off stage, she came up to me. She was like, "Hey, you're a headliner. You are a headliner." So I'm like, "Whoa." So I got Damon Williams took my number down. It was a great night, man. So the ball started rolling from there, and so I always did well when I went to the club. I was new, fresh face in Chicago. It's a great city for comedy. I mean, it's a lot of BS to happen here, because this is just like any city with black comedians in it. Like they hate each other like a motherfucker. I mean, if you funny, they hate you. Not all of them. Some people just jealous. Like I came up here from out of town and started doing my thing, and then you had niggas who embraced me, and you had brothers who was just jealous of me. Oh, he ain't from here, yada yada yada. you know. But those are comments that you ain't gonna really ever be nothing for real. But so shit. I mean, I started getting it in, man, and I used to, it was a Sunday show for it used to be when you were a headliner when you came out of town. You did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So she stopped doing the Sunday, and I thought that I had enough of a following by April to ask for my own night. So she gave me my own night. I started my first show that first weekend, the first Sunday in April 3rd, 2011. It was almost sold out, and it was going well, man. And I mean, since I've been up here, man, like I got so much structure. You know what I'm saying? Like St. Louis is like you just get off stage when you want to get off. You know, up here is like you got the light. When that light come on, you gotta get the fuck off stage. Then just being around comedic geniuses, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying, somewhat legendary comedians, you know, being around Lil Rel and B. Cole and Damon and, you know, Leon and Ballhead and them, like, you get to see these cats every day. Because in St. Louis, most of the strong veterans, you know what I'm saying, they don't come back home. You know, like Guy Torrey and Lavelle Crawford said, most of them, you know, they in L.A., so you don't really get to see them. So you don't really get to, you know, learn that much. So being up here, I mean, it literally turned me into a monster, and it was just dope because I'm in unfamiliar territory. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I made a name for myself, man, and shit, been getting it in ever since. Now I host up in that motherfucker on the weekends. But we gonna continue in a minute, man. That's the first part of the Chicago years. Cause that's an amazing city to be. Do comedy in Chicago is amazing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like this is one of the best places. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta, I'm looking at Atlanta, LA, or New York, but Chicago, you can make it in this motherfucker. You can make it anywhere. So yeah, part 6 times soon, bitch. Wine, fucking my throat. Wine. Look at my fucking goatee, man. Nigga to cut all my shit off.